The alpha taught himself hypnosis. The first person he hypnotized was me. We kissed. We touched. After months of fooling around, he was finally ready to confess. But not to me. A friend asked him, "Didn't you have a thing for your first love? Why else would you hypnotize him?" Drake answered casually, "Come on, I'm an alpha. How could I possibly fall for a beta? It was just practice. I'll lift it soon." I suddenly understood everything, and walked through the door. I pretended the hypnosis had worn off, took back all the affection I'd shown him, and went after the love rival he wanted me to chase. But later, I underwent a second differentiation and became an Omega. That's when he started to regret it. 1. Today's my birthday. Drake threw me a birthday party. He invited all his close buddies. I didn't really know them well, but I'd been trailing after Drake since we were kids. His friends, if you round it up, were practically mine too. It didn't matter if we weren't close, as long as Drake and I were. Most of them were alphas, crammed into one private room. The scent in the air was so thick, even I, as a beta, felt short of breath. Halfway through, I couldn't take it anymore and stepped outside for some fresh air. They thought I'd gone to the bathroom, and started talking about me. "Archie's just a beta, why's he always clinging to you? And he looks totally smitten with you too. Is there something going on between you two?" Drake chuckled, and explained lightly, "Feelings? What feelings? We grew up together, that's all. It's just habit." He was playing with a lighter, the click echoing rhythmically. Each sound hit my ears like a drumbeat, dense, nervous, expectant. I've been teaching myself hypnosis lately, and he's the easiest subject, so I hypnotized him into thinking he was in love with me. His voice carried that natural arrogance unique to alphas. Didn't expect it to work so easily. Drake paused, then added, "But I'm done playing. I want something real this time." His friends asked, "With Archie?" Drake was quiet for a moment, then suddenly scoffed, as if, "It's Foster." One friend frowned, confused. "Wait, you don't like Archie? Then why hypnotize him?" Drake replied like it was obvious, "I'm an alpha, how could I like a beta? He was just the perfect practice subject. I'll lift it soon." The room fell silent for a second, then burst into laughter. I knew it, no way an alpha would be into a beta. "You're something else. Now I really want to see what Archie's like after the hypnosis is lifted. Bet it's a total 180. What if you fail your confession and just hypnotize Foster too? That'd be way too convenient." Drake just smiled without saying a word. The drum beats in my heart slowly faded, until they vanished completely. I pushed the door open, sat down next to Drake with a smile, and asked, "Drake, ready to head home, too?" Drake had one leg crossed, resting his chin in one hand. He crooked a finger at me. "Come closer, Archie." I leaned in obediently, eyes locked on his, and slowly lost focus, watching his swaying finger. "Archie." Hypnosis lifted. "Wake up." The snap of his fingers made my mind jolt, and I snapped back to reality. I shoved Drake away, putting 3 feet between us. "Why are you so close to me? That's gross." Drake froze for a second, then couldn't hide the pride in his eyes. A quiet smile played on his lips, laced with complicated emotions. "You zoned out. I was just reminding you to blow out the candles. 20 already, maybe wish for a quality partner this year?" I felt a bitter ache in my chest but didn't let it show. I went along with him. "From your lips to God's ears, but I think I'll skip the wish. Not a kid anymore. And I'm skipping the cake too. Not a fan." Drake's face fell. "You used to love cake. I had this one made just for you." I rested my chin on my palm, smiling faintly, scooped up a bit of frosting with my fingertip, and wiped it playfully on his face. "Can't I stop liking it?" Truthfully, I wanted to smash the whole cake in his face. Drake let out a low laugh, grabbed my fingertip, brought it to his lips, licked the frosting off, then let go, as if nothing happened. "Fine, don't eat it if you don't want to." His friends watched the scene between us. There were gasps and murmurs. "You two act like you've been together for years." Just asking, do all childhood friends act like this? I gave a half smile and grabbed a wet wipe, cleaned my fingers. "Yeah, I find it weird too. Maybe Drake just treats all his childhood friends like this. He even gets mad when I try to keep my distance." I tilted my head and looked at Drake, reminding him for the 1000th time, "We're adults now. Let's try having some boundaries." "Yeah." Drake shrugged, unfazed. "We're both guys. What's the big deal? And it's not like you're an Omega." My heart skipped, and I couldn't come up with a response. Back then, when he was this close to me, I thought it meant he liked me too, and since I liked him, I took it as a silent agreement between us. Turns out, I didn't mean anything to him. It was just the natural closeness of two kids who grew up together. but I'd always thought we weren't that close. Not close enough to kiss, to touch each other the way we did, to do everything lovers do, except the final step. I started to hate myself, for pretending his hypnosis worked on me, for being so pathetically in love, for never having the guts to ask, out of everyone, why choose me to hypnotize, but asking him now would be meaningless. It'd just make my feelings look cheap, better to go along with his game, let him stay confident in his little victory. With that thought, I poured myself a glass of red wine, and drank it in one go. So what if I'm a beta? Does that give you the right to mess with me? Stay away from me. Don't get in the way of me finding someone real. Drake leaned back with a faint smirk, one arm stretched behind me on the couch. You really looking for someone? You're not allowed to date until I do. Always saying things that make me overthink. But now, my heartbeat stayed steady. I could finally respond calmly. Why not? What? Do you like me or something? The kind of question I used to be too scared to ask. Now it just rolled off my tongue. Drake froze, then gave a mocking laugh. Archie, since when were you so full of yourself? He was wrong. I used to be way more full of myself. That's how I got it wrong for so long. Suddenly, I didn't feel like playing word games anymore. I just quietly drank and drank. Drake took me home, made me honey water, tucked me into bed, like he'd done 100 times before. 3. Drake and I grew up in the same residential compound. Our parents were close friends. There was barely any boundary between his family and mine. It's not an exaggeration to say we were practically joined at the hip. So when we both got into the same university, we just bought an apartment off campus, and moved in together. In our sophomore year, Drake suddenly got interested in psychology. He brought home a stack of books to study. Sometimes, he'd even watch online courses. I got curious and asked what he was up to. He said he wanted to teach himself hypnosis. I never had much of a good impression of psychology. The Foster family, who lived in the next compound over, were in that field. Foster himself had these dark, unreadable eyes. Every time he looked at me, it felt like he could see straight through me. He was usually cold and aloof, but when he snapped, it was like he turned into a total lunatic. And for some reason, he always seemed to have it out for me. He was the only one who knew I liked Drake. Whenever he saw me, he'd scoff and mock me. Little tagalong, coward. It drove me crazy, but since Drake was into this stuff, I forced myself to drop the bias and joined him in studying for a while. And to be honest, it was actually kind of fun. Everything's more interesting when I'm doing it with Drake. The first time he tried to hypnotize me, I followed his instructions almost instinctively, not because he was some hypnosis genius, but because I wanted to listen to him. He said, "Kiss me." My heart was pounding, but I still leaned in and kissed him like he said. And after that, there was no turning back. I naively thought he liked me too. For 3 whole months, I let him coax me into doing all sorts of embarrassing things, played the fool, all the way through. Lying in bed, I closed my eyes quietly. There was still a faint taste of honey on my lips, but it wasn't sweet at all. It was bitter, so bitter it brought tears to my eyes. 4. The next day after class, Drake went to the psychology building, dragged me along with him, claimed he needed moral support. He said he was nervous. I just gave a dry laugh, watched him like I was watching a show, and nudged him to hurry up and confess. Foster was a high-grade Omega, easily the most sought-after beauty in our neighborhood. Countless alphas were crazy about him, but I'd never seen him treat any of them nicely. Only once had I seen him show a different expression. It was this strange mix of hatred and affection, toward his adopted older brother, who happened to have a stutter. I could tell right away he liked his brother, just like how he saw right through me liking Drake. So when he mocked me, I'd mock him right back. Sometimes we even got into fights, all of which led me to one conclusion: Drake was doomed to fail today. And sure enough, Foster turned him down without hesitation. Drake's face went pale for a second, but he quickly pulled himself together, sat Foster down on a bench in the woods to keep talking. While they talked, Drake started slowly waving a finger, trying to hypnotize him. But Foster, he studied psychology for a living. Still, he had no idea what Drake was doing. Impatiently, he asked, "What's wrong with your finger? Cramp?" I was watching from a distance and almost died laughing. But the more I laughed, the more my smile froze. Damn it, this ridiculous excuse for hypnosis only worked on idiots. And I was that idiot. 5. Drake came back looking completely defeated, but he still refused to believe hypnosis didn't work on anyone else. So he called up his buddies to drink the frustration away. I didn't want to go. He didn't like that, dragged me along anyway. I took a deep breath, didn't want to fall out with him just yet, still wanted to see what would happen next. So I went. Drake said drinks were on him. I went ahead and ordered 10 bottles of the most expensive wine, 10 grand a bottle, downed them like water. Before long, I was slumped on the sofa. They all thought I was blackout drunk. Once they let their guard down, the conversation really started flowing. One guy said, "Are you sure your hypnosis isn't fake?" Drake replied, "No way. I've never failed before." Another said, "What if Archie already liked you to begin with, and just went along with it? Why not try it on us instead?" Drake refused immediately. "No, you guys don't trust me enough. It'd be too hard to get it to work." They kept joking around for a while. "Maybe Foster doesn't care about you at all. You've got to get on his good side first before you try hypnosis. But I heard he's got a watchdog with him, his brother/bodyguard. That guy stutters, but his pheromones are insane. You didn't run into him today?" Drake snorted. "That little freak has to go back to the company every Thursday for reports. He's always knocked out the next day. Doesn't have the energy to deal with me. Just a stray mutt. Not worth worrying about." He swirled his wine glass and started scheming again. Came up with a dirty trick. This jerk, just to prove his hypnosis really worked, decided to hypnotize me again in front of everyone. Even if that mutt's not a threat, he's still annoying as hell. You guys say Archie's only pretending to be hypnotized because he likes me. So if that's true, and I tell him to confess to someone else, he won't actually do it, right? But if he does, then my hypnosis really works. And he went straight into action, shook me awake, hypnotized me, told me to go confess to Gavin. My fist clenched, but to help him keep up his little illusion, I nodded obediently, "Okay," and went along with his show. 6. Right then and there, I messaged Gavin, "Baby, I like you." I'd called him that since we were kids. Foster hated it, didn't let anyone else use it. So of course, I used it, just to piss him off. Gavin didn't really respond, didn't say much. He didn't talk to anyone, really, not even Foster. He was like a robot. Anyone who messed with Foster, he'd beat them up. Funny thing was, he was the one who pissed Foster off the most. Everything was already a mess, so I figured, why not throw in some lava? Let this four-way mess burn even hotter. They all treated me like the nice, harmless one. I was gonna play them all. Gavin replied with just 6 dots. I said, "Silence means yes." "Gavin, where's Drake?" "Me, you like him." "Gavin, me, I'm chasing you." "Gavin, did Drake tell you to do this?" "Me, wow, look at you, already have an owner." "Gavin, this was getting fun." Everyone was watching me text. Drake and his friends exchanged looks. Archie's pretty smooth. Ha, knows how to flirt. Even Gavin listens to him. You're really letting him go after someone else. Drake didn't seem to care at all. Didn't treat the hypnotized me like a real person. He's listened to me since we were kids. Even if he's in a relationship, he'd still listen. What's there to feel bad about? Right, Archie? He patted the back of my head and asked with a smile. I lowered my eyes, then looked up at him sweetly. Whatever Drake says, goes. There was pride dancing in Drake's eyes as he sipped his wine, while texting Foster nonstop. Even Gavin gave me a few replies. Foster didn't even bother with a single dot. I was just a clown in their show. A strange sense of superiority swelled in my chest. I wanted to see Drake fall harder, wanted him crushed by heartbreak. If I had to get dragged into this, even sacrifice myself, so be it. Maybe I am a psychological freak, but who cares? Worst case scenario, when it all blows up, I'll just go abroad for grad school. Isn't that what rich people do anyway? Wreck everyone, then peace out. 7. With that thought in mind, I eagerly sent Gavin a few more messages. Baby, you stutter even when typing. Do you stutter in bed too? I really want to hear you moan. In bed, it's so dark tonight. I miss you, baby. Gavin replied. Where are you? Generally speaking, alphas don't talk like that. I burst out laughing and typed a stream of ha 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 ha. So what class are you in, alpha boy? I was getting into it, fully enjoying the chat. Didn't even notice Drake had put down his phone. He was staring at me, his face dark, watching me flirt. After a long pause, he suddenly muttered, Archie, you're being kind of slutty, aren't you? Where'd you learn this from? I blinked innocently at him, pretending not to get it. Didn't you tell me to go after him by any means necessary? Drake choked on his own words. You better be doing this because I told you to. I tilted my head, wide-eyed and obedient. Who else would I listen to but you? Drake looked pleased, but not quite, like he'd just bitten into chocolate with a very unpleasant surprise inside. His friends tried to smooth things over. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Archie's good looking, sure, but he's still a beta. Even if he gets Gavin, it won't last. Gavin won't marry a beta. He'll come back to you eventually. Drake actually nodded like he believed that. True. Archie can't live without me. Live without you? Please. I can live without anyone. 8. To get away from Drake, I moved straight into the dorms. Even considered switching majors. I'd always picked my classes just to stay close to him. My older brother's an alpha, so the family business isn't my responsibility anyway. I just need to live quietly and avoid major scandals. And if I do screw up, the family can clean up after me. To be honest, my life, like my secondary gender, is painfully average. I've never done anything too crazy, except for falling in love with a total idiot like Drake. Love really lowers your IQ, makes you do the dumbest things. Getting revenge on him will be the last dumb thing I ever do. After that, we'll go our separate ways. Drake was confused when I moved out, pressed down on my suitcase, asking, "Why are you suddenly leaving?" I blinked at him, confused. Gavin lives in the dorms. I'll be closer to him this way, easier to pursue him. He fell silent for a moment, then let go of my bag, smirked a little. "You're too obedient." I smiled shyly, like he didn't know exactly what kind of suggestion he planted during that hypnosis session. He made me believe Gavin was the one I loved most, and I had to win him over no matter what. I'm just doing this to give him and Foster some space. I'm a saint, honestly. Of course. I even called my brother and got us into the same dorm room. Good thing I'm a beta, no scent issues. Drake's fingers curled slightly. His tone turned strange. That's not necessarily true. Even betas can be affected by dominant alpha's pheromones. It's rare, but it happens. I scoffed. Impossible. I've been glued to you for years and felt nothing. Don't tell me it's because you're not dominant enough. I'd always known Drake's scent was like hard liquor, but I'd never really smelled it. Betas can't detect pheromones, just the vague pressure. That's part of what keeps alphas on top of the social pyramid. They're born to be dominant. Drake's expression darkened. He shoved me toward the door. "You talk too much. If you're leaving, then get going." I didn't look back. Left behind the apartment we'd shared for nearly 2 years. Without Drake in the air, everything suddenly felt lighter. I dropped the fake smile, let my lips fall. Heavy-footed, I stepped onto campus. 9. Gavin had a dorm room all to himself. Ever since he turned 18, he insisted on living alone, but his responsibilities hadn't changed. Foster had been frail since childhood, always needing someone nearby. That's why they adopted Gavin after a long and careful selection process. He was quiet, obedient, and genetically exceptional. Whenever Foster wasn't home, Gavin was on watch. He couldn't allow a single mistake. In the past, they went to and from school together. Now in college, Gavin still picked Foster up and dropped him off daily. And at school, they were in the same class. Gavin was a stutterer, not exactly cut out for psychology. Psych work relies heavily on communication and listening. But he had no choice. The most rebellious thing he'd ever done was move out. Honestly, he's like a walking tragedy. At least that's how I saw him. Other people thought differently. They saw him as blessed, the chosen one. He'd grown up in Foster's house, lived a life of luxury. So many people would have killed for that spot. I didn't interact with Gavin much. Foster hated me, so I tried not to share space with either of them. The only 2 times that really stood out were, both times, Foster had gotten into a fight with Gavin, and ended up accepting Drake's party invites out of spite, drinking too much, dancing too hard. One time it ended in alcohol poisoning. The other, hyperventilation from bad air. Gavin saved him both times, but the punishment still fell on Gavin. The sounds of a whip in the ancestral hall were all too familiar. It always landed on the same back. Those 2 incidents hit him especially hard. He collapsed in the alley outside his side courtyard. No one even noticed. I happened to be there. I liked climbing to the rooftop at night to bask under the moon. Found him there twice. Didn't say anything. Just carried him back inside. Cut off his shirt. Applied antiseptic and clotting powder. That was it. He couldn't do anything. Could barely stammer out a thank you. 2 little words, both broken by his stutter. He was pitiful, maybe a little cute. That's all I ever thought of him. As for what he thought of me, no clue. But when he saw me in the dorm, his eyes went wide. "Why you ran away from home?" I nearly burst out laughing. Did I really seem that rebellious to him? 10. Gavin had always been a bit of a stiff. No wonder Foster both loved and hated him. Seeing him up close like this, I wanted to tease him a little, see if I could get any other reaction out of him. So I dropped my suitcase and smiled as I moved closer to Gavin. "Didn't I say I'm going to chase after you? It's just natural to have an advantage when you're close." Gavin's skin was dark, so it was hard to tell if he was blushing. A little disappointing. That would have been a lot more fun. He didn't seem to hear me, though. He frowned, watching me for a long time, then guessed, "Did you and Drake have a fight?" Hearing that name now just annoyed me, reminded me of how foolish I once was. Why does that matter? Gavin looked helpless, pursed his lips, lowered his head, but still told the truth. I know you like him. Why do they all know? Except Drake. I thought no one knew. Suddenly, I got a little angry, too tired to mess around with Gavin anymore. Who likes him? No one likes him. Then I clumsily finished making the bed, sweating from the effort, and went to take a shower. When I came out, half naked, brushing my teeth, Gavin was just getting off my bed. The rumpled sheets were now neat and tidy, only ever seen that done by drill instructors during military training. Holding my toothbrush, I pushed my luck a bit. Why didn't you help me earlier if you could? Gavin was originally nervous, face stiff, but hearing that, he gave me a strange look, and apologized. Sorry, I have OCD. You made the bed too messy, you little punk, trying to drag me down. I'll remember that. I snorted and finished brushing my teeth quickly, waggled my fingers at him. Help me make the bed, and I'll treat you to dinner. Deal? Gavin hesitated for 3 seconds, then nodded. I changed clothes in front of him. No sense of privacy. Anyway, alphas don't fancy betas. When I turned around after changing, I saw Gavin facing away, both hands covering his eyes, as if afraid to catch even a glimpse of me. So funny. Drake always stared blankly at me while I changed, but I rarely dared look at him, afraid my feelings would show. Sigh. There I go, thinking about that bastard Drake again. I put my arm around Gavin's shoulders. He's tall, a little uncomfortable. I quietly let go. What's wrong? Scared of getting a sty? Gavin shook his head slowly. No peeking where you shouldn't. I casually said, haven't you seen Foster naked before? Gavin stiffened, his dark eyes shooting me a sharp look. Don't ask dumb questions. He has seen it. I chuckled and shut up. Funny how easily I see through people. Except I only just realized how clueless I was about Drake. Was I blinded by love? Damn it, back to thinking about that bastard. So mad I downed a dozen beers, drunk to the point of passing out, and I don't even remember how I got back to the dorm. 11. Foster was the one who woke me up. He'd somehow heard I'd moved into Gavin's dorm and stormed over, shouting and yelling, demanding why Gavin wasn't living with him but with someone else. Gavin stayed silent, like a mute, head bowed, looking like a guilty servant. Foster's face flushed red with anger. He slapped Gavin, forcing him to speak. Talk. Are you mute? Answer me. Gavin turned his head away, dark skin flushing red under the surface. 5 thin finger marks appeared. He stopped being silent and whispered, keep your voice down. Don't wake anyone. We can go outside and talk. Foster was spoiled his whole life, never controlled his temper. Now seeing Gavin protecting me made him even angrier. He went into a rage, insulting and berating. His superior attitude oddly matched Drake's. I couldn't take it anymore and shouted, so you, a dominant Omega, want to live with a dominant Alpha? What kind of idea is that? Hard to understand. Foster's big round almond eyes bulged as he glared at me, like he wanted to eat me alive. He's my property. I can do whatever I want with him. None of your business, you useless beta. Yeah, that sounded about right. Both he and Drake didn't really see others as people. How does someone like that even get into psychology? Or maybe he only wants to manage, not empathize. I laughed. Your emotions are unstable. You're not fit for psychology. I suggest you switch majors, go to business and management and join Drake there. Foster's delicate, slender eyebrows furrowed hard. Why bring him up? Then nodding arrogantly, I get it. You finally got dumped clearly, so now you're taking it out on society. He raised his head threateningly. I'm not someone you can mess with. You better move out and stay away from Gavin. Seriously? My family background isn't any worse than his. Just because I'm a beta, he thinks he's superior. This is a dorm, not your private property. Stop acting like I'm the one who's trespassing. Foster choked on his words, tapped Gavin's chest, ordered, you, move back home. Got it? Gavin stayed silent again. I couldn't stand it. Are you his dad or mom? Managing everything? Haven't you thought about why he doesn't like you? Is it so hard to treat someone like a person? Gavin trembled all over, lifted his head slightly to glance at me, then quickly lowered it again, revealing the swirl of his black hair. I caught the numb, hollow look in his eyes. Not like a young man just turned 20. The air seemed to suffocate for a moment. Foster went numb from that gesture, started smashing the dorm around him. He hyperventilated. Gavin covered his mouth and helped him breathe, then skillfully gave him medication. They hurriedly took him home. He didn't come back all night. When he did, he walked unsteadily, You couldn't even touch his back. He wouldn't avoid you, but he'd shrink away instinctively. I started to blame myself. Had I dragged this poor kid into my mess with Drake? But the arrow was already on the string, no turning back. Now if I quit, I'd regret it, so I could only treat Gavin a little better, make up for the pain my selfishness caused him. 12. I asked Gavin, "Baby, can you not go home?" He had a fixed schedule every Thursday for a performance review, but he was a stutterer. Naturally, he never did well. Mostly, he stayed silent. When his father asked, he answered in short phrases, like an NPC. If his father wasn't satisfied, he'd punish him physically, demanding him to be quiet and obedient, and also speak fluently, like training a dog. I only knew about this because my brother once went to discuss a cooperation. He saw it with his own eyes. Afterward, my brother sighed and complained, "I don't even know why they adopted Gavin. His life isn't much better than an orphan's. A dominant alpha should be able to stand on his own, but he's shackled by a debt of gratitude, tormented by the whole family. If he were under me, this world would have gained a talent." So I asked about it once, but didn't pay much attention. After all, Gavin was there voluntarily, willing to obey, willing to repay the kindness. But now, maybe because I'm closer to him, I'm a little protective. I don't understand why Gavin hasn't left them. No matter how much gratitude, after all these years of serving and suffering, he should be free by now. I haven't seen him spend much money either. What else is there to repay? Gavin was in the bathroom and hadn't come out for a long time, probably tending to his wounds. I smelled a faint scent of blood and couldn't help but wonder. He heard me but didn't answer for a while. Soon he came out wearing a t-shirt, looked at me, then lowered his head before answering, I only have this little use to repay, or I can't go to school." He seemed ashamed of his stutter. Usually, he spoke only when necessary, but whenever I talked to him, he always replied. I hadn't noticed before because we rarely interacted, but now that we lived together, I found his double standards really obvious, and kind of cute. Seeing him so nervous made me feel a bit bad. To me, he was already impressive. Foster wouldn't really believe everyone develops Stockholm Syndrome, right? That kid grew up surrounded by love. Why can't he learn to express it properly? I sighed and sat at my desk, beckoning Gavin over. "Your back must be hard to treat. Come here, I'll help you." Gavin obediently took off his shirt and squatted in front of me. Thank you. Look at this obedient guy. What's so hard about being nice to him? I just don't get it. Foster's the real idiot. 13. Foster really was an idiot. To get back at me, he happily agreed to Drake's invitation to go party at the club. He even bragged in front of me, saying if I didn't let him have fun, he wouldn't let me have peace either. I rolled my eyes. If Foster went there, Gavin would definitely follow. He said it was his duty. Honestly, it would be better if Foster suddenly got sick and dropped dead, but that was just wishful thinking. I went along with Gavin. After all, I was still under Drake's hypnosis, supposed to be Gavin's loyal shadow. Foster thought I was playing smart, deliberately annoying him, so he drank fruit juice furiously. He was allergic to alcohol. No one dared to force him to drink. Drake gave me a look, signaling me to separate Gavin. He was afraid of Gavin because Gavin had beaten him twice, pretty badly. I was the one who tearfully treated his wounds, making sure he kept his fragile Foster out of danger. Drake had many friends. Before, I thought he just wanted good relations with his peers nearby. I never thought too deeply. Turns out I was clueless, wasted so much care on him for nothing. Thinking that, I cursed myself in my heart, downed a glass of alcohol quickly, pretended to be drunk, and begged Gavin to take me to the lounge to rest. Gavin glanced at Foster's expression, black as ink. Naturally, still, he helped me stand. "I'll be right back." I looked back once. Foster was biting his lip, face dark. Drake sat beside him, smiling and talking. "Foster, consider getting engaged to me. We're perfect for each other, don't you think?" I didn't hear what happened next. Most likely, Foster didn't either. Shortly after I arrived at the lounge, pretending to be drunk and clinging to Gavin so he wouldn't leave, Foster came into the lounge, locked the door behind him. 14. Foster leaned back against the door, staring straight at Gavin. Gavin seemed to realize something. His broad back began trembling. He stuttered, "Foster, don't do this." "Do what?" Foster chuckled darkly, the laughter twisting more and more. "I insist." I didn't know what was happening invisibly. The air thickened, making it hard to breathe. I smelled something beyond the alcohol, a strong jasmine scent. Could it be Foster's cologne? But alphas and omegas rarely wear perfume. I'd heard mixed scents were unpleasant. I must be a little drunk. My nose wasn't working right. rubbing my temples, dazed. Gavin's breathing grew rapid, blood seeped from his clenched fingers. We should go outside and talk. Not here. Foster tilted his head, revealing a sickly smile, cold and terrifying. I want Archie to see an alpha losing control over an omega. How dare a beta steal what's mine? I couldn't stand it anymore. He was using his pheromones to provoke Gavin into losing control. I stood and grabbed Gavin to leave. His wrist was burning hot. Looks like he was inevitably affected by Foster's pheromones. That useless Drake couldn't even keep one person, yet still dreamed of chasing after him. I pushed Foster away sharply. Suddenly, Foster clutched his chest, gasping like he had an asthma attack. His arousal and hyperventilation hit at once. Gavin instinctively caught him, covering his mouth and nose. Veins bulged on Gavin's forehead and neck. He was fighting his instincts while protecting Foster. Please help prepare a car to take us home. It had to be this way. We couldn't just open the door. The pheromones from a dominant alpha and a dominant omega were like aphrodisiacs. The bar was full of people with mixed traits. I was afraid they'd flood in. I called my brother. My legs gave out, and I collapsed on the sofa, closing my eyes, too tired to watch Foster seductively tempting Gavin. Bro, look at me. I feel terrible. Give me some of your pheromones. Okay. That seductive voice made me shiver. It's not that I don't want to save Gavin from danger. I just felt like I was also affected by Foster's pheromones. My whole body was burning up. Or maybe it was the alcohol raising my temperature and heart rate. Anyway, I had no strength to care about anyone else. Just as I nearly bit my own tongue, the door was opened. It was Drake. He forced the door open with ease. Finally did something useful. With a dark face, he injected Foster with a suppressant, then carried the unconscious Foster out. His aura was strong and protective, not once looking at me. 15. I thought the drama was over and breathed a sigh of relief, but Gavin paused, then slammed the door shut hard. He leaned against it and sat on the floor, legs stretched out wide, long arms and legs, really good looking. I gave a drowsy smile, asked him, "You're going to the hospital too? Don't worry about me. I'll just rest a bit and be fine." Gavin tightly covered his mouth and nose, veins throbbing on his forehead. He shook his head fiercely. "And no, you can't. You've got a scent. I'll guard you." My scent? No way. I'm a beta. My mind went blank. A strange desire surged like a tsunami. I seemed to smell another scent. A faint sweetness. It was so hot I couldn't help but undo my clothes and turn the AC to the lowest. But it didn't help. At some point, Gavin bit his own arm. What was he doing? Such self-punishment. Was he a masochist? But from that blood came a particularly pleasant woody aroma. It pulled me toward him. Unable to walk, I crawled. Gavin was terrified. He backed away along the wall crack like a ghost. "Don't run. I just want to check your wound." He didn't listen, staying 3 meters away. Our chase was kind of ridiculous. Luckily, my brother arrived quickly. As soon as the door was kicked open, his face darkened. Without a word, he kicked Gavin, then took off his suit jacket, wrapped me up, and dragged me out of the club, straight to the hospital. On the way, he kept yelling at Gavin. I thought that brat was good, but no alpha is any good. I'll beat him every time I see him. I was dazed, my mind foggy, didn't understand what he was saying. At the hospital, I was injected and passed out. When I woke, the doctor said I had undergone secondary differentiation triggered by dominant alpha pheromones. I had turned into an omega. I was stunned. If it had been before, I probably would have been happy. After all, I could be with Drake openly then. But thankfully, it was now. Otherwise, how would I know how Drake really felt about me? 16. Though my brother expected this, hearing the doctor's words still made him furious. He immediately tied Gavin up in front of me and made him kowtow and apologize. Gavin was hurt again, pale. Only a few hours had passed, and he still hadn't protected himself. I was angry. He knew how to protect Foster and me, but not himself. Was he an idiot? So I was too mad to look at him. My brother ranted and blamed everything on him. Gavin only said 3 words. "I didn't." Slow and soft as a feather, and no stutter, repeated over and over. So heartbreaking. I couldn't help glaring at my brother. Why are you yelling at him? How long have I been with him? And it's comfortable sharing a room, no invisible pressure from alpha pheromones. You're an alpha too, can't you smell it? He's never released pheromones in front of people. Otherwise, why would you agree to me living with him? My brother choked up. Of course he knew. He'd heard stories about betas induced into differentiation by dominant alphas. To protect my growth, my mom forbade my dad and brother from releasing pheromones recklessly, including Drake. Before college, Drake was closely watched by my brother, probably because he was nearly fully developed by adulthood. The chance of secondary differentiation was very low. They only reluctantly agreed to me sharing an apartment with Drake after seeing how clingy I was. Lately, I've occasionally felt the pressure from alpha pheromones, mostly at the club. I ignored it, thinking it was just the crowd and mixed sense making me uncomfortable. Now thinking back, maybe Drake never took me seriously, never tried to control his instincts for me. Inducing differentiation requires long-term exposure. Maybe Drake had been doing this for a while. I laughed bitterly. It was my own blindness and stubbornness, not anyone else's fault. My brother, worried, only saw Gavin when he came to pick me up and misunderstood. After calming down, he knew who caused it. He punched the wall in frustration and went out to beat up Drake. I stopped him. Bro, I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. Forget it. I'm partly at fault too. My brother didn't listen and rushed out. I heard they found Drake in the isolation room. No fight broke out. Dominant Alpha and Omega's mating period lasts at least a day and night. Right, Drake had completely drained Foster. He originally planned to send Foster back, but Foster's pheromones were too strong, suppressants barely worked. Drake couldn't resist temptation. He stripped Foster in the car. Drake's mom wanted to forcibly separate them, but Foster, driven by desire and weak in health, cried and protested. Drake held on to Foster tightly. They hurriedly agreed to an engagement verbally, and locked them in isolation until the mating period ended. During this time, Foster's family beat Gavin badly, called him an ungrateful wretch who couldn't even protect his own brother. Beaten so severely Gavin fainted in an alley when leaving. No one saved him this time. He woke up alone, but was immediately dragged away by my furious brother. 17. Looking at the whole thing, it seemed Gavin was the only victim. I didn't care much. Actually, I didn't lose much. Whether alpha, beta, or omega, with my background and mindset, I could live a good life, except for the part where Drake induced my differentiation, which was kind of disgusting. Otherwise, I had no discomfort, so I recovered quickly, still had energy to help Gavin apply medicine. This time, Gavin avoided me, kept his clothes on, refusing to take them off. Scent on the wound, bad. Dominant alphas and omegas usually control pheromone release well, but their bodily fluids, especially blood, contain lots of pheromones. When injured, they can't control pheromone leakage. Before, I couldn't smell it because his wound wasn't serious. He didn't think much of it either, but now that I could smell it, he kept his distance from me, made me want to be mischievous, purposely got close to him. I told you I'm chasing you, why be afraid of this? Or do you not want me to chase you? Gavin looked stunned for a long time, like a big silly, obedient dog. Finally, he lowered his head and whispered, I don't. I patiently waited for him to finish. No need for you to chase. I smiled, my cheeks flushed. No need for me to chase. Then who will? Gavin didn't understand. He looked confused, simply asked, see, can I chase you? So cute, a little thirsty. I licked my lips and mimicked him. You can chase me, Gavin, a dumb puppy, bewildered, but when he realized he could chase me, he secretly curved his lips, smiling like a mouse who stole cheese. It was the first time I'd seen him smile, usually so wooden, so pitiful. Damn, too funny. I hated that I discovered his cuteness so late. All I knew before was how pitiful he was. How many years had I missed? 18. Drake got what he wanted. He got engaged to Foster, even though Foster didn't want it. He hated Drake. Gavin, and me, hated me the most. He believed that without me, he and Gavin would already be together. They could be both family and lovers. Obsessed with fake found family nonsense. He hated me so much he kept causing trouble at school, tangling with me all the time, always wanting to beat me up. Gavin would step in front of me. That made things worse. Foster suddenly had a breakdown. Whose bodyguard are you anyway? Why are you protecting others? Without us, you'd be rotting in some stinky ditch right now. You ungrateful trash. Maggot. Waste of space. No matter how much he insulted him, Gavin said nothing. I couldn't stand it. Why should the person I cared about get verbally abused like that? I pulled Gavin behind me, raised my hand and slapped Foster. Sick or not, I wouldn't tolerate it, so I hit him. No manners, go home and learn some. Letting every lunatic loose. Have you thought about others' feelings? Foster was stunned. He'd been pampered his whole life, held like a fragile treasure, spoiled rotten. Only he was allowed to hit others, never the other way around. Completely lost it, started arguing with me, but ended up slapping Gavin on the chin. I was protected in Gavin's arms, my head pushed down. Damn, Being protected by someone you like feels amazing. Foster's brain was kicked by a donkey, raised and protected by Gavin since childhood, and he still treated him like that. I thought the problem wasn't his body but his mind, so I said it out loud. Foster looked like a madman, but hearing that, his expression blanked for a moment. Am I not good to him? I give him food, clothes, a place to sleep, let him enjoy the good life with me. Am I not good to him? No point talking to him. I rolled my eyes. If you can't handle it, when I graduate, I'll give you free counseling. You're seriously messed up. 19. Drake rushed over, wanting to take Foster away. Before leaving, he frowned and glanced at me. Archie, you're getting out of line. Don't upset Foster. Screw that. I ignored him. He just looked disdainfully at Foster. You think he really likes you? He's just hypnotized by me. That's why he's chasing you. That one sentence changed their expressions drastically. Gavin looked dark. Foster's anger turned to joy. Only I remained unfazed. Foster asked Drake to lift the hypnosis on me because he didn't want to see me cling to him. Normally, this wouldn't help strengthen Drake and Foster's relationship, but Drake didn't hesitate and really removed the hypnosis on me. I didn't move, letting him wave his fingers. Gavin twitched, clenched his fists, then dropped his hands. His thumb unconsciously fiddled with the side of his index finger's flesh. He never forced anyone, only endured himself. That's a problem. Looks like I'll have to put some effort into teaching him. I grabbed his hand and forced our fingers to intertwine. Didn't let go even after the hypnosis was lifted. Drake's expression shifted from confident to blank, even angry. Archie, you still won't let go of him? Why would I? Drake, you're stupid. You actually believed you hypnotized me? Your half-baked hypnosis isn't better than mine. Give it up. Drake was stunned. No way. Then why did you kiss me? So many times? I wanted to ask the same. Yeah, why? His face paled, gripping Foster's hand so hard he didn't notice he was hurting him. I know, because you like me. Then why are you holding his hand? The scene was hilarious. We were clearly holding someone else's hand. What right did he have to ask me? But since I'm a decent person, I answered because he asked. I shook Gavin's hand slightly, smiling. Thanks to someone letting me chase him. Chasing and chasing. I accidentally got enchanted. Our baby is a treasure. When someone doesn't cherish him, I pick him up. By the way, I should thank you guys. Drake seemed to finally get it. You tricked me, pretended the hypnosis worked just to laugh at me. Weren't you the one who tricked me first? I said coldly. Drake got mad, released Foster's hand, stepped forward to touch me. We've been close since childhood. Why lie to me? Gavin stood in front of me, staring at him. You're the one who did him wrong first. You didn't cherish him. If it were me, I'd be thrilled just to have him near, no matter why he's close. Drake wouldn't listen. Feeling betrayed by the whole world, they almost fought. Foster seemed like he wanted to argue with me too, but I was busy. I discovered some great news. Baby, you just spoke without stuttering. Come with me. I'm throwing a wine party to celebrate, inviting all the important folks to congratulate you. I pulled Gavin to leave. Oh, and please don't come uninvited. 20. I had my brother help transfer Gavin's household registration, a single-person household. He didn't belong to anyone, only to himself. The price was that my family provided them with some free medical equipment. They let Gavin go willingly, thinking he was useless to them now. Gavin regained his freedom. He wanted to repay but hated being just an errand boy for my family. Kept asking my brother what he could do. I pulled him back. He didn't need to live just to repay anyone or live for others forever. I wanted him to live for himself. Psychology was pretty interesting, especially observing Gavin. I really fell in love with the field. Decided to study abroad. Also, I was tired of seeing Drake and Foster always hanging around me, so I applied for overseas study, and invited Gavin to come with me. Filling out the forms meant giving a lot of info. My sexual characteristics had changed, but no one knew except my family and Gavin. Drake found Foster in the classroom when I wasn't around, snooped through my application form, caught me off guard. He blamed me with full confidence. Why didn't you undergo secondary differentiation sooner? If you hadn't delayed, I wouldn't have had to settle for Foster. Archie, don't study abroad. Stay with me. Haven't you always liked me? I'll break off my engagement with Foster. We'll be together. Okay. He grabbed my hand. His eyes were red. I shook him off. We're not bros. You're the emperor, picking concubines here. If it's yours, why snoop? Go lock yourself with your fiancé. Okay. Drake didn't leave. Kept shirking responsibility. Trust me. My parents say I'm old enough to marry, and Foster is the perfect Omega for me. If you had differentiated sooner, I wouldn't have needed to do this. I like you. Otherwise, why hypnotize you first? I chuckled. That's your reason for inducing my differentiation. Since we're at it, might as well settle all grudges. I swung my fist, landing a crooked punch on his face. Aren't you shameless? Felt good. My classmates called me the Tyrannosaurus Omega. The BS and OS applauded me loudly. Foster froze at the classroom door, eyes red and teary. So, no one really likes me, huh? He pointed at me, trembling. You all like this defective one? Yeah, pitiful but also annoying. I heard he's pregnant. Because of his weak body, he can't just get an abortion. During pregnancy, he needs frequent pheromone exchange with the kid's dad. Between them, things were no longer up to them. But that's none of my business, and certainly none of Gavin's. We have our own lives to live. 21. On the eve of going abroad, I experienced my first heat. Gavin thought I might meet someone better than him in the future and didn't plan to get intimate with me. He seemed to want to keep me in the position of a benefactor. My brother, with his short temper, threw both of them into an isolation room. If you can watch him get through this, I'll grant you your freedom. I wasn't forcing him. I wanted to see if Gavin really would let me go. If he could really let me leave. What kind of love is it without possessiveness? But Gavin couldn't hold on for even a minute. Shaking, he confessed. Sorry, I should have confessed to you when you were sober, but we need to be together first before doing other things. I chuckled softly. My warm palm stroked his fuzzy head. Breathing heavily, I asked, why are you stuttering again? I'm nervous. His face and ears flushed bright red. His beautiful, shiny dark skin couldn't hide it. I didn't have time to chit-chat. Sealed it all with a kiss. I agree, baby, you can mark me. Let me be tied to you for life. Red veins appeared in Gavin's eyes. For the first time, I smelled such overwhelming, thick pheromones, mixed with my own sweet fruity scent. It was like being in a tropical rainforest, humid and stifling. Only clinging tightly to Gavin, connected closely with him, could bring a little coolness. But he resisted the instinct to mark. He bit his own arm instead of my neck. Even though his arms and body circled me, creating a beautiful sense of confinement, he still said he couldn't cheat, couldn't let the mood make him rashly trap my freedom. I was happy he cared about me like that, but I worried he didn't trust me enough. Wasn't this also a sign of his insecurity? We had just started dating, so it was natural he felt uneasy. I wasn't in a rush. Take it slow, the days ahead are long. People need time to chase away the shadows in their hearts before love seeds can sprout. Bathed in enough sunlight, they grow into towering trees. Gavin was determined. He spent 5 years rising to the same position as my brother. No longer insecure, he even had the courage to propose to me, but still lacked confidence. He said, those better than me aren't as good looking. Those better looking aren't as strong as me. Archie, choose me. From now on, you're my master. My collar is only for you to hold. What a joke. He's my only option. Okay. I raised an eyebrow. That's not how you're supposed to ask. Gavin's usually empty, numb eyes now glittered with starlight. He sincerely lifted his head and looked up at me. Archie, let's get married. I gracefully extended my finger and watched him tremble as he slid the ring on. That's more like it. Oh, by the way, I bought some things online that look like rings, but you wear them somewhere else. Gavin looked confused. What things? Bracelets? I tiptoed and rubbed his thigh. Baby, you're so innocent. It makes me feel a bit embarrassed. Come on, call me master for me. Gavin's eyes darkened, desire surging. He rubbed against my knee, his breath heavy. Master, spoil me. He really had some submissive tendencies, which I kind of enjoyed too. I devoured him completely. Just kidding. Baby's stamina was no joke. I wasn't a match for him. In bed, he barely made a sound, just his breathing drove me crazy. I was the one who made noise. Gavin loved to hear it, and I loved to make it.